Kit Kats can read. Hey guys, it's Katie. Welcome to another video, and in today's video I'm going to be doing a book review on Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. So first of all, as a disclaimer, I'd just like to say that I did receive this book from the publicist of the publisher in exchange for an honest review, so it was gifted to me. This will, however, not affect my opinion on the book whatsoever. This is going to be my true opinion only. So the first half of this video is going to contain the non-spoilers, and then the second half will go more into detail about this book. So I will let you know when that moment is, and so you guys can give it a watch. But if you've read this book, then you can go into more of the details with me. So first of all, I'm going to identify the book for you guys. This is Daisy Jones and the Six, and the author is Taylor Jenkins Reid. So Taylor has written various other books, as well as The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which is a major book release. So for me, this is actually my first ever book that I have read by this author, and I can tell you now guys that I am so excited to delve into the other works, because this book was simply epic for me. So this story is literally about Daisy Jones and the Six and how they formed together. So it's about their past life, what happened with them, and their relationships and the scandals that went with it, how they became the Six, because they weren't the Six originally, and then how Daisy Jones became Daisy Jones, and then how they became Daisy Jones and the Six. So this is formatted like an interview, and so it's literally like it starts off by interviewing Daisy Jones and just sort of like her teenage life and how she sort of like lived, and then it's like her early 20s, and then how she sort of like started singing, and then it's like the Six, how did this band form, and their relationships with each other, and then it's just how they just joined together and their relationship with each other, and just the relationships that are between characters. And there's so much angst in a lot of this book between two characters. I loved the angstiness, like, and the tension and everything. I loved how this book was written. Even though it's stylized like an interview, it's like this is a real band. Even the synopsis is written like it's a band. And I really liked that about it. It made you think that these characters were real. This was an actual band that was in the 60s, 70s era. And then it just threw you back into that era as well, just with everything, like with the sex and drugs and the rock and roll sort of thing. And yeah, it was so good. I just loved how it was written. If I had to have a favourite character, I was actually, in the end, I did start off saying that Karen was my favourite character. Now Karen is one of the band members of the Six, but then I also did kind of like Daisy. Now Daisy was just so confident, everything that I am not, but there was just a moment where she literally even physically says, "Shut up, I'm reading." And I fell in love with Daisy right then. And just hearing about her, like how she dressed and everything, like honestly, girl crush. Like seriously, hashtag girl crush. So yeah, I was just torn between those two characters. So this book is actually structured like in sections. So for example, here we have Aurora, which is like one of their albums, and so it will tell you like how that album is formed and how they managed to form it and how they did the songs for it. And they literally like do it that way. Like here we are, 7, 8, 9. So there's little sections of that throughout the book. It goes from years. So for example, 7, 8, 9 here, it says 1975 to 1976 and that sort of thing. So it's just sort of like what happened between those years. My favourite part of the book would be a lot later when Daisy and the band are writing songs together, and when Daisy and Billy just sort of like get together and write the song. I'd have to say that was like my favourite part. My least favourite part had to be the ending, because it ended. I wanted more from this band, like so much more. Like, just, I loved it so much. I did, however, like how the book ended though. It does end in a really sort of like nice and subtly sweet way. This book totally affected me though, just because for me it felt like the characters were real and like it was a real band in the past, you know, in the era like before I was born sort of time. Like I felt like I was just following their lives, and I was so intrigued. Like I wanted to know more, and that's all I wanted. Like I wanted more of these scandals, I wanted more of this angst, I wanted more of this edginess, like between all these characters that were going on. I couldn't stop reading this book. So yes guys, it's totally worth buying. I thought it was really, really good. I did buddy read this along with somebody, and they said it's quite close to characters from the Seven Husbands of Evelyn and Hugo, but I haven't read that book myself, so I can't really sort of like say my opinion on that sort of thing. But once I do read that book, I can sort of form an opinion on it. But as of now, this is a standalone book, was so effing good. So like I had to give it 5 out of 5 Kit Kats. Full marks all the way, totally good. It's definitely a book that I would read again. It's definitely a book that I would recommend. So that is the end of the non-spoiler section. If you guys haven't read this book and you don't want to know any more spoilers, then I suggest that you leave the video now and then come back to it once you have read this book. So I'm going to say goodbye to the non-spoilery people, and then I'll say hello to the people who want to delve more into this book. So this is where I'm going to talk about like all of the characters, like as I go through the book, like bit by bit. So first of all, like you go into the book and you see that there's Daisy, and she's just sort of like living this style, and she is totally like hung up on drugs, and it's really sad for her to see that she started off this early like on drugs and just everything. And I was so sad about like her life. Like her parents never really gave a damn about this girl, and you can literally see that, so you totally feel sorry for this girl. I mean, I totally did, like really, really did. So I was really, really glad that she had this close best friend called Simone, who really, really helped her out through it all. She was literally a rock for Daisy throughout the whole entirety of this book, and I loved her so much. In fact, she probably is like one of my favourite characters from the book. I would have 3 contenders. I definitely have Daisy, I definitely have Simone, and then there's Karen as well. I'd probably put Karen third now actually, because now thinking about it, Simone I did really, really like, but Daisy is probably my #1 favourite, just because like of her sass and just her confidence and everything. She's like everything that I sort of like wanted to be. Out of the 6, I really did like the character Billy. I thought he was just like literally just not even like full on or anything. Like I just thought that he was just a really great strong character, and he was definitely the front man of the band, and he was definitely like my favourite male of the band, because there was quite a few males as the band, and he's got a brother called Graham as well, and he was just sort of like always in his brother's shadow. But I would even say that I did prefer Billy to Graham in this book. Now Billy and Daisy's relationship, my goodness, that was like the biggest angst of all this book. Just you could see that they had emotions for each other once they met, and it's such a shame because Billy had married and had kids like before he met Daisy, but it's almost like he had met his soulmate. Like literally Daisy and Billy were like soulmates sort of thing. They just both were into the same thing, and they just clicked like that. Like, and Billy's wife could see that. She could see that they like had this love for each other that could never ever happen, and it was just horrible because they just had these moments where it just something could have happened, but because they were just both like respectful of their situation and their families, that's why it didn't happen. And even though we as a reader were just sort of like, oh come on, like they need to be together, but they can't, and it's so good. And I love the way that Taylor Jenkins Reid just made it so that Billy really respects his wife and his little girls and everything, and I just thought that was really, really done well. So then we have Karen, who is like this keyboardist which joins the group, and then it is eventually that Karen and Graham have this relationship, but they're doing it like behind closed doors. So like Karen and Graham are just like hiding their feelings sort of thing, like from the rest of the band. So I just thought like they were really cute and good together as well. And it's such a shame like everything that happened where just Karen like got pregnant and then she got rid of the baby, because she's one of those people that she knows that she doesn't want kids sort of thing, and she knows she can't have them. So I just thought that was really sort of respectful of Karen. I did feel a bit sorry for Graham though, because he was just like, oh I want the kid, like, sort of thing. But I suppose back in those days, like, things were a lot different. Warren was such, like, a playboy. Like, he was, like, the biggest playboy of the band. Like, he was just such a man whore. I did feel like really sorry for Camilla, because Camilla married Billy and then they had the kids, and she was forever being left at home and not being with the band, and Billy was away, and then there was a situation with Billy and Daisy and Camilla wasn't there, and it's just, I did feel sorry for her. She was left a little bit in the shadows, but she was actually a really cool and respectable person, especially when she speaks to Daisy in the end, and she's just sort of like, I know he loves you and adores you, but he also like loves and adores me. And just that last little bit where Camilla just sort of has this little letter that she sort of like gives to Billy, when she's just sort of like, when I go, like, I think it's a letter to her daughter actually, and she says like, when I go, please tell your father to get in contact with Daisy again. I think they need to write a story about like my death, sort of thing. And I think that's kind of like a sign of like, and see if they can, like, if they're both single, for them to get together. I think that'd be really cool. That would just be really awesome. So yeah, totally respected the ending. I thought that was a really great way to end it, just how Camilla respected Daisy and everything, and I thought it was really good. And I just loved learning about this band, and it really just sort of show like what somebody deals like to go through, like alcohol, like with Billy when he went through the alcohol addiction, and then Daisy with the drug addiction, and when she just wanted to give it up, but then when things got really low again, she had to like, she felt like she had to go back to the drugs again. And yeah, it really just show how people like act and react with that sort of thing. So yeah, so really just enjoy this book. So if you guys have read this, let me know down below in the comments. Let me know your thoughts and your opinions and your views about this book, so that we can start a discussion on it. If it's going to be spoilers, please like ask to message me, and then we can private message about it and talk about it in direct messages. But yeah, I thought it was really good. So if you guys have enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. All of my social media links will be down below in the description if you'd like to follow me elsewhere. But that's it from me, guys. Keep smiling, keep reading, and be happy. My name is Katie, and I'll see all of you wonderful, awesome people in my next video. Bye!